Good morning, everybody. It's Monday. December 15th, 10 days till Christmas. You know, I don't know how time flies when you're having so much fun. Good morning, pickleballer. Hey, how you doing? Thank you for joining me this morning. Let's drive by. Let's see how many people want to wake up at 5:48 on Monday morning, December the 15th. Glad to be alive. Thank you, Lord. Let everybody kind of wake up if you're like me. For some reason, waking up this morning wasn't as easy as it normally is. I don't know why. I did have a busy weekend. I'm trying to wrap up some Christmas shopping stuff, and so that's always fun. Had a little cold snap here in Texas, and just enough to wake everybody up. But no worries, it'll be back in the 70s by tomorrow or midweek. Hey Karen, how's it going this morning? Just sitting here trying to give everybody a minute to kind of grab their cup on Monday and get started. The Pure, hey, good morning. Thank you for joining me this morning. Al joined. Hey Al, what's up, man? Morning. If it's your first time here, let me know where you're from, what the weather's like. It is about 35 or 36 degrees here in Central Texas this morning. I think the high today is going to be about 50, and that's, for us, that's about normal, I guess, this time of year. Heavy Hauler, how's it going? Thank you for joining. Joe, thank you for joining this morning. Good morning. Nashville, woo. Man, Nashville, it gets cold there. Got any snow on the ground there in Nashville yet? The Pure team, I like that. That's a good handle. No snow in Nashville yet. Have you lived in Nashville a long time? I had a friend that graduated from Vanderbilt there, is a chemical engineer, or that's what he went to school there for. That's not what he does for a living. Never understand that. Isn't it funny how people go to that can go to college or that get to go to college? A lot of times they don't even work in the field that they have a degree in. Isn't that crazy? B joined. Hey B. Inga James. Hey Inga, how you doing? You grew up there in Nashville. All right. Well, you've been around a lot of country music then. I've been here in Central Texas since 1974. I've never actually been to Nashville, but my wife's been to Nashville multiple times, and she said it's a nice place. I'd like to go just to, of course, I'm not really a hang out in the bars, but I'd like to go hear some, you get to hear a lot of up and coming country music. Musicians and that might be fun. Alpha, a lot of drive-bys this morning. Everybody wake up, grab a cup. Not much to see except mowing God. Hey, how's it going this morning? Bill Higgins Jr. just joined. Thank you, Bill. Eric joined. Hey, how's it going, guys? It's the 15th. Can you believe it's 10 days away from Christmas? All the way from Beaumont, Texas. All right, that's where Casey lives. You don't know Casey, do you? I've been to Beaumont many a time. Toilet water's gone. Did you ask the neighbor that, Mo and God? No. Okay. Who's that? So Casey's just one of our regulars. He's from Beaumont, Texas, too. And right now, I know he's on the road. He drives long haul across the country and has to be away. He worked close by, and his wife works in one of the chemical plants down there, or refineries. I'm not sure exactly what she does, but he's usually jumps on the live fairly regularly. You know, since he's been on the road, a lot of times he's not able to do it this time of the morning because he's either driving or sleeping. So anyway, but that's good. Thank you for joining us down in Beaumont. I always like a fellow Texan. Thank you. Awesome. He does. He is a very he's a hard worker. I usually talk to him sometime, pop in. He'll do a live in the evening from his truck, and so I get to keep up with, you know, what part of the country he's in. I know last night I saw him. I didn't get to pop in, but I did see him for a second, and he's somewhere up in the Northeast. Man, I can't imagine having to fight all of that snow and bad weather hauling 18-wheeler. And I'm not sure what he's hauling right now, but he's definitely a busy person. So I kind of had actually, usually on Mondays I'm sitting here half asleep with the rest of you, but I did prepare some. Let me adjust the screen over here so that I can move it around. Let's see. So I figured I would just touch in with everybody and let everybody kind of tell me what the weather's like there. Like I said, it's we had a cold front come in yesterday. Wind was blowing about 30 miles an hour. And I think they said it was going to be 29 last night, or feel like it was 29. It's actually about 35 degrees this morning. So, you know, it's probably the coldest temps we've had here in Central Texas for this season. But it's supposed to be like 52 today for the high, so that's not bad. Hopefully that wind's going to die down, and then we have a little bit of a warm front coming back midweek. And then they say that we have another northern blowing in at the end of the week. 26 in Louisiana. Hey, Jamie. Hey, how's it going? Where are you at in Louisiana? What part of Louisiana are you in? Hey, John. John, I started to call you John Wayne, and then I caught it that it's John Way. Thank you for joining me this morning. I appreciate it. Shreveport, okay. Yeah. My sister was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. My father was in the Air Force down there many, many years ago. I always used to kind of razz her a little bit about not being a Texan. She said, "I am a Texan." I was like, "No, you're not. You were born in Louisiana." That's my big sister. Yeah, she's sweet. A mile from Barstow. Okay. Yep, been through Shreveport a bunch of times. Nice place. Brown guy. Good morning. Raul just joined. Good morning. Hey, everybody, just to kind of wake up on Monday morning, stretch a little bit. You know, if you're not a coffee drinker, just kind of get up and stretch to the left and right. We always do finger exercises too. You know, take your finger, do this, because you know, I never know what people's physical limitations are, especially this time on Monday morning. You know, so you do your finger left, then right, then go up there and tap on the screen of your phone so you like the live, and then you can say that you did your morning exercise without ever getting out of your chair. But if you can get up out of your chair, just kind of get up and stretch, get your blood flow going. All your Jamie's family lives in Texas. What does your dad do, Jamie? Is he in the military or? Landlover joined. Lord Lover. Good morning. Amy Martinez just joined. Good morning. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Hey, anybody wants to join the fan club, send me one of those little heart me emojis that adds you to the fan club. It's free. I always tell everybody, if you're new here, anybody that follows during the live, I do the same thing at the end of the live, providing you're not a bot. And we don't get a ton of those anymore. At first, I used to get a bunch of them. So I think maybe TikTok's doing a better job with that. I hope so. Both parents were born in Houston. Okay. Yeah, I grew up in Northeast Texas, so but I've been here in Central Texas since 1974. So been here a long time, seen a lot of changes. Austin's turned into what I really call a big city. But my early childhood growing up in the Dallas, kind of north and east of Dallas, I knew what a big city was like. But when we moved here, Austin wasn't anywhere close to that, and none of the surrounding towns either. But it's really changed over the years, and yeah, it's definitely considered a big city. But I guess people have to move where they can, where they can get a job and make a living. So everybody will like to know that I don't think we have anybody from California on right now. We rarely do, because you got to figure it's 3:45 in the morning there. But I always like to give them hell anyway, because everybody, the Northeast has got a lot of snow and inclement weather that they have to deal with. Central Texas, we're just kind of, we ain't even had any ice or sleet this year. So it's been really a relatively minor winter so far. Travis, hey, all the way from Sunshine State, Florida, thank you for joining us this morning. Rush, down in Kyle, another Texan, thank you. It's changed a lot. If you lived in the area, everybody who's lived here any length of time really knows. Blaine, thank you for joining. So, one of the things that I was going to tell you, just California's kind of their weather for this week's mild weather with some rain. Wouldn't we all like to have a little rain? I don't know. In Texas, it's been pretty dry. And, of course, nobody wants bad weather during the holiday season. Hey, Cal Cop, Chris just joined. How you doing? PA Dutchman just joined. Good morning. Thank you for the follow there. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot to do here. Yeah. And I mean, thank you. The surrounding areas here, they're really nice. Anyway, there's kind of my little weather report. Chris, how's the weather in the Texas Panhandle? Is it the wind blowing about 80 and pretty chilly this morning? Cal Cop is our Texas lawman here. He is up in the Texas Panhandle, retired DPS officer, and now works for Southwest Cattle Association. Works for a historical organization there. So, morning. 35 cloudy. Woo! Bruda, good morning. Thank you for joining this morning. Kim's joined us over here on YouTube. Good morning, Kim. How you doing? So there's kind of the weather report. Sports, if anybody keeps up with sports, it looks like the New England Patriots cinched the AFC East this weekend. So they beat Buffalo. How about that? That was a close game. Did anybody watch that game? No NFL football fans here? We do have some people that have joined from up the upper East Coast, and I don't know if we have any New England. Maybe Moen God, are you still with us this morning? Thank you for joining the fan club. Appreciate you. Anyway, yeah, how about that? So here's another piece of sports news. If you're an NFL or football fan, and I am a football fan, I usually, yeah, Saints won. I saw that the Saints kicked in 6 seconds left in the game. A guy kicked like a 41-yard field goal. I was glad to see them win. They've struggled this year, and the boys lost. I know you would think I'm a Cowboys fan, and I don't hate them. I just I'm not their biggest fan. I don't really like their quarterback, and I definitely don't like their owner, Jerry Jones. I think he's not done a good job with the Dallas Cowboys. To me, Dallas Cowboys, people who own, maybe it's with all the NFL teams. It's all about them making money, not really about having a good team. And the Cowboys don't have a bad team, and there's times where they play pretty good, but man, there's other times they just sloppy. And as much money as those guys get paid, you'd think they could do a better job. But maybe it's just the competition. Prescott's from Louisiana. Nobody likes him there either. He can't win. Everybody seems to think he's a great quarterback. I just don't see it in him. I never did see it in him. And I'm just not sure why everybody, I don't get what they like about him so much. Sending the crew off to work. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not Sean Payton. I like Sean Payton. The Broncos have had a decent year. I'm kind of a Kansas City fan, but man, they have not done well this year, and Mahomes just got tore his ACL, and so he's out for the season. The Kansas City Chiefs are out. They will not be in the playoffs this year. Neither will the Cincinnati Browns. They are definitely gone too. It's the curse of Jamie. You're right. It's the curse of Taylor Swift. Exactly. And then let's see. So NHL. I don't know if we have anybody that keeps up with hockey. I'm not much of a hockey fan. I never really understood the game. However, everybody's like the fights and stuff. But anyway, they had one of their longtime players, John Ferguson, passed away this past weekend. And then, so yeah, prayers go out to his family. Even though I don't know him, but apparently he was a good NHL player in the past, probably. And then the last thing, and this is always exciting news in the sports world. Do you know it's World Darts Championship tournament starts today? Does anybody play darts? Oh, okay. Well, James, yeah. There is a couple of ice rinks here in the Austin area. It's crazy. But yeah, when I saw that in the sports world that there was going to be a World Darts Championship, I'm not anywhere good at it. I have played darts a time or two, but I'm not that good at it. I've seen people who play darts regularly, and some of them they're pretty good at it. And I've watched them play professional darts on TV before, and those guys are good. And then in the tour world, they have they've started developing some batteries. Batteries are really kind of developing where they can be smaller, they give more power, they last longer. And there's a new technology out called tabless cell technology. And I wonder what, we're always talking about how expensive batteries are for cordless tools, and how that you can use some of these replacement batteries are just as good for about a third of the price. And anyway, apparently this new tabless cell technology is gonna be out there before you know it. There you go. Yeah, the Mud Bugs hockey team. Okay. I wouldn't have thought about Shreveport having a hockey team, but hey, everybody gets around. Okay, so a couple of things I was gonna do today. We usually do trivia on Thursdays, but I just had this idea come up while I was trying to put all this stuff together late yesterday. And I thought, everybody knows the Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life, right? Everybody's familiar with that movie. And I ran across, what was funny is I ran across a YouTube video that said, Wonderful Life, 50 things you don't need to know. How about that? And so that kind of prompted me. I was like, I wonder what kind of questions they have about that particular movie. And so there's a few here. So I thought, blah, blah, not funny. And so I thought I'd ask some trivia questions just to see how much people really know about the movie. It's one of my favorites. I usually try to watch it, once a year. It was made a long time ago, before I was even born. But it's a great movie, and I like some of the actors that are in it. So here's the first and super easy question: the question is, who directed It's a Wonderful Life? Does anybody know that answer? Who directed It's a Wonderful Life? Jamie, you've never seen it? It's a definite. So a lot of people, some parts of it are black and white, I believe. Well, no, they have a colored version now. It's a good movie. It's an old movie, but it's a good one. Kind of uplifting. So the answer to that question is Frank Capra. Frank Capra was the director of It's a Wonderful Life. If you haven't watched it this Christmas season, try to set some time aside and give that movie a watch. You won't. I think everybody. I've never heard anybody said they didn't like it. And it's family friendly too. So if you have little kids, you don't have to worry about them watching the movie with you. So here's another one. Can you tell me when it was released? Because when it was released, can you believe it was a box office flop? That's funny. Anybody know when it was released? What year? Nobody? Late 30s? Well, that's a little far back. It was actually 1946 is when the movie was released. 11 years before I was born. So did any of you see my Christmas question of the day yesterday? Anybody seen that video out? The question about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Pickleballer. Anybody seen that one? P45. Kim, you were close. Okay, so my question was, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was a promotional gimmick developed for an American department store chain. And the question is what chain was it? Does anybody know that answer? Luke over here on YouTube, good morning. Doing a little trivia. Macy's, a lot of people guessed Macy's, but that's the wrong answer. That's not matter of fact, I didn't even know. I was surprised what the answer was. Rush 212, thanks for the follow, buddy. Appreciate you. Mowing God says Sears. Again, that's a good guess, but it's not them either. But you're on the right track. So it was Montgomery Ward. I never knew that. Montgomery Ward is who Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was developed for. And it was like a promotional gimmick. How about that? When I saw that Montgomery Ward, Montgomery Ward's always kind of had a soft place in my heart because it was the first place when Donna and I first got married. We were very young. There was a Montgomery Ward's here in Capitol Plaza, right off I-35. And it was the first retail outlet that I had a credit card at. So I guess it was, a plus and a minus. It was a plus because we had a credit card, and I think we actually bought our first. I'm trying to think how big that TV was. It was the first color TV because when we got married, we got a hand-me-down black and white TV, and I want to say we bought a $300 color TV, which back then $300 was a lot. That was probably in 78 or 79. And so that was a plus. I'm glad that I got a Montgomery Ward's credit card. And then on the downside, that's the interest rates on those credit cards. So the one thing I learned was pretty young and pretty quickly about how you can get in trouble and get in a lot of debt with credit cards. So I guess that was a plus that we were able to get one, and then a minus because, we developed debt. And once I realized what the interest rate was, which being young and not thinking about it, and you go to pay your monthly bill and half of it is interest, and you're thinking, how in the world am I ever going to get this thing paid off? Well, we did. And from that point forward, I never had anything other than a Visa card, and we only used it for emergencies. So just trying to learn to live within your means is always a good lesson. And that was one that I learned young, thank goodness, because, what do they say? People have the average in the United States, at least $35,000 worth of credit card debt. And that's just crazy. I know at one point my daughter had, I want to say it was $11,000 worth of credit card debt. And I think her payment was, $100 a month, but $50 of it was $50 every month was just interest. I would like to invest my money like that. I'll loan you that amount of money at 20. I think right now interest rates on credit cards are like 29-30%, something like that. It's crazy what they charge for interest rate on credit cards. So anyway, I try to stay away from them the best I can. Not that I don't have any, I do, but I always pay the balance at the end of the month. And if I can't pay the balance at the end of the month, I don't use them. But Montgomery Ward's, yeah. Anyway, that's kind of my history with Montgomery Ward's when I was young and newly married. Does anybody know how that movie became a classic, a Christmas classic? And we're talking about It's a Wonderful Life. Luke, it's only about 34, 35 degrees here this morning. It's not as cold as they said it, as I thought it was going to be. Yesterday was hey Jessica, good morning. It was actually, it felt colder yesterday because the wind was out of the northwest and it was blowing between 20 and 30 miles an hour. So that wind is really what made it feel cold yesterday. There you go. Good job, my God. And I mean, I think a lot of people have to learn the lesson about credit cards. Of course, thank goodness a lot of us have had that experience. Good morning, Ed. Let's see what that says. Ed is absolutely correct. Can you believe that? It became a Christmas classic because the copyright expired on it and the TV stations could play it for free. How about that? And that happened in the 70s. Actually, what it says is that there was a clerical error that caused it in 1974, allowing TV broadcasters to show it repeatedly, royalty free, and introducing it to a new generation. So a new generation, probably us, because in 1974, I was a freshman in high school, and that's, about the time I remember really watching it. I don't remember watching it much before that. And of course, I was always a big Jimmy Stewart fan. He had some Westerns and stuff I really liked. He plays the lead role in that movie, and he plays George Bailey. Do you know who they considered for the role of George Bailey before they picked Jimmy Stewart? Does anybody know that? There's two famous actors that were considered for that role. One of them was Cary Grant, but here's one that you probably not even thought about. Henry Fonda was also considered for that. I want to say Bogart. Yeah. Cary Grant and Henry Fonda. How crazy. 8th school. Oh, that's funny. Donald Trump. Oh, like I said, that's too funny. I came up, I didn't realize how many questions that we could come up with just about one movie. Of course, like I said, it's a classic, and if you've never seen it, I definitely recommend take some time out during the holiday if you get a chance and watch that. It's a Wonderful Life. It's got some good stuff in it. So if anybody's seen the movie, let's see if you can answer this question. It says, what famous line did the angel Clarence use to explain why bells ring? What's the famous line the angel Clarence uses to explain bells ring? Does anybody know that? Mary, don't you know me? Yeah. Oh my God, you are so funny. You're right, Jamie. Jamie answered the question correctly. We got 5 inches. Luke got 5 inches of snow in Pennsylvania. Woo! Well, I guess that probably means if you're up in the Northeast, you're probably going to have a white Christmas. People here in Texas, they always talk about having a white Christmas, but I can't remember when the last time that really happened. And this year, I hear people talking about it. They're saying that it's going to could be in the low 80s on Christmas Day. Can you imagine that? I mean, so it doesn't give it the Christmas feel sometimes. Sometimes people are, they're like, well, it's hot outside. And it is. But for little kids, they just want to be able to go outside and play. So I guess it's good for them. In Texas, it's a cowbell. Oh, that's too fun. Boy, God, I tell you, you are so witty first thing in the morning. So is everybody still Christmas shopping? Have you got all your Christmas shopping done? No? Maybe? Yeah? Your wife hates you. Well, as long as you've been married, I can understand that. Mine too sometimes. No. So I have a question. Hey, Luke, on YouTube here. So, like, when you get that kind of snow, does it shut the schools down? Or, I mean, I've been told from people that I know that have lived up in Illinois and different states along the East Coast there that, just because it snows, it's got to be really, really bad weather for the schools to close down. Where here in Texas, if we get ice on and it's freezing, because like when you get snow, we get ice. We probably don't get any snow, but we just get ice on the bridges and roads. And schools close down if there's any ice and hazardous driving in Texas. But I've heard up north that they just like truck on. It could be a foot of snow and they still expect you to be at work on time. They expect the kids to be at school on time, and they just get out there and get to it. But what's really funny is everybody that I know that's not originally from Texas and grew up where there's lots of snow always tells me they would never move back to that part of the country again. They say that at times it's just miserable, having to shovel snow, it being so cold that, you have to, and if you don't have a garage to park your car in, that adds stuff to it. So I can see where I don't think I'd want to have to get up 2 or 3 hours before I had to leave. So maybe north I'm retired. Well, if you're retired, I definitely, where you don't have to fight the traffic every day and get out on the road. Well, when I was younger, we'd have bad weather and ice, and I'd always somehow make it to work. And I guess, well, it was this job that I've got currently. When our office was in Austin, we had a bad ice storm, and it normally was, with traffic, it was about a 45-minute drive. So it took me about an hour and a half to get to work that morning, and traffic was bad. And but it was more the ice on the road than traffic. And I get to work, and I thought, whew, thank God I made it to work. We're good to go. Stepped out of the truck, took 2 steps, slipped on the ice, and hit my head on the bumper of a car in front of me and knocked me out cold. And I laid out in the parking lot for probably a half hour before somebody, realized I was laying out there in the parking lot. And broke my glasses, and had to go to the hospital, had a concussion. Luckily, it was just a concussion and a few stitches in the head, but And so that woke me up, and I used to tell everybody, and I still do, if we have that kind of weather and you get out on the road trying to get to work and somebody loses control of their vehicle and they, run into you, run you off the road, you have an accident, just remember that the company's not going to pay for it. So how bad do you really want to go to work in those conditions? Best to stay home until it's safe. And I learned that lesson the hard way, I guess. So anytime it's from that point, and that's been what, 15, 16 years ago. And anytime there's ice on the road, I'm just like, yep, I'm taking a day off. I'm not coming to work because it's just not worth it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but of course, it may have changed now, but employers back then, it was like, okay, we have bad weather, but we're not closing, so you get here. And so that, at least all the ones I ever worked for, that was their. Thank you, appreciate it. Wisconsin, good morning. It's gonna sled. Luke's gonna sled to see. I like that, Luke. Luke said, all right, he was going outside. He was going sledding. I was like, sledding this time of the morning? Really? That's funny. I think he was trying to say he had to go off to work. Thanks for joining us, though, Luke. I appreciate it. What's this? The baby boomers need their lottery tickets? Yeah, when they started the lottery in Texas, I think it was a pretty good deal. Well, I mean, they sold it to all the Texans that if we had a lottery here, that our school districts, one, that our school taxes would plummet because there would be so much money in the coffers that the school districts just absolutely wouldn't be able to spend it all. And that's just not the case. Matter of fact, at one point, the Texas lottery nearly went under. It was so mismanaged. And, my wife working for a school district for many years, I never heard and of course I'd have to research it, but I'm not sure that the Texas lottery ever gave any money to school districts. Even though they have over $1 billion in the coffers because they tax us to death. But yeah, and I always used to hear that the lottery, was marketed to people of lower economic association. So, and I'm beginning to think that that's true too. Even though I know people who buy lottery tickets that have, they'll every now and then you'll say, oh, I won $500. Yeah, but how much money did you have to spend to win that 500? Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think Texas is alone on it. I think anywhere there's a lottery, it's just an income for politicians to waste our money, just like they do here. Yeah, see, it's the same way that the lotteries were supposed to fund the schools, yet the schools are struggling. And used to, if you had a job with a school district, you had to do something really bad to lose your job. And schools have become, because they are a business, even though they're funded by taxpayers, they've had to lay off people. But I never understood this about school districts or any level of government that's dependent on tax money. Now, school districts, they get a lot of mandates from the state, the federal government, and some of those mandates, they have no choice. They have to follow, even if it costs the school district, millions of dollars that they may or may not have. Like in Texas, I don't know if they did it everywhere, but in Texas, schools have to have one armed police officer on campus, one for every campus. Well, imagine what that costs a school district to now. Not only do they have a school district and teachers and administrators and janitors and all the people that it takes to run a school district, they now have to manage a police department. And which for me is, nothing I ever experienced while I was in school. We had a principal and he had a paddle and he would set your butt on fire if you stepped out of line. And if it wasn't him, it was a football coach. So they had plenty of people in the school with a paddle and the experience to use them. And so that saved a ton of money for the school district. And so I would really like to see a school district go back to that policy. Corporal punishment, the principal, assistant principal, and all the coaches get a paddle when they're hired, so that if anybody, steps out of line or needs to get their attention, that's the possibility. When I was in school, before class, you could just stand in the hall and every now and then you'd hear that paddle swing, boom. And then the door would close to the classroom because they had to get somebody's attention before class even started. But yeah. And now we have to have police officers walking in the schools. And, partially, I guess it's to protect, because I don't get this trend about school shootings. And, we didn't have that back then either. So, yeah. And I think you contribute some of that to the media, and when something like that's happened, how they, put it out all over TV. And yeah, that's just a bad deal. That wasn't even on my agenda to talk about. Just somehow it went that way. But yeah, I wish the lotteries did fund the schools. And at the same time, the school districts have a tendency to mismanage money. Let me just put it this way. I went to school and the building was a metal building. Not that it wasn't terrible. It was air conditioned, and learned just fine. And now they build these schools that are huge and, hundreds of millions of dollars. And I just don't think those are necessary for kids to learn. They don't have to be in a $100 million building to do it. And then the maintenance and upkeep on them will kill them. Texas Conservative 76, just adjust the attitude back to, yeah, I agree. Yes, you're right. Kids are scared to go to school. My oldest granddaughter did do all 4 years in high school. My younger one, she finished high school, but she did it remote. And partly, I think why she was so comfortable with the remote is because during COVID, when she was in junior high, she spent a year. That whole year of COVID, they did school from home. And then we found a organization out of Dallas. They're called iSchool, and they're a Texas accredited high school. They had about, several thousand students enrolled there. But she did really well there and didn't have all the drama from school and the kids and the stuff that went on in the schools. Thanks for the follow there. I appreciate that. I don't understand how they allow some of the stuff to go on. What was it? It was some trend where kids were going in school bathrooms and like vandalizing them, and they weren't doing anything about it to stop it. Their thought, okay, we can stop that. We'll just close the bathroom and lock it so nobody could go in there. Well, that's not a solution to the problem. They should have jerked out a paddle and set their butt on fire. That's what they should have done, but they don't do that. I can tell you some other stuff that my granddaughter would tell me that was so disturbing. Nobody would want their kids to be exposed to that. It's just, the teachers and principals, they either were overwhelmed or they just turned a blind eye to it. I think the worst thing that I ever saw happen while I was in school is, occasionally, once in a blue moon, you'd hear somebody got caught smoking behind the gym or something, and now it's stuff that just goes off the deep end. So yeah. And maybe it's different in smaller school districts. I don't know. Maybe. But in big school districts, I've heard it from a lot of parents that say the same thing. But I think schools could I would like to see them funded more. On one hand, hey, Duncan 17, how's it going, buddy? And then on the other hand, I'd like to see them learn how to spend the money responsibly and not try to think that you have to have the best of the best. And, Texas, we love our football, but there's a lot of schools that spend tons and tons and tons of money on sports when, and I like sports and I think sports is good. But I think we go to school to be educated. And sometimes I think that gets pushed to the backside. So everybody's done with their show up for that. Oh, Texas is good. Yeah, you're right. Up in that Dallas-Fort Worth area, they got some big football stadiums. They sure do. If you go to them, you wouldn't even realize that there were a stadium for a high school. You would think you were maybe going to a college or a pro game, definitely college level. You're absolutely correct. So let me see here. There was something else I wanted to do today, talking about Christmas gifts. And I thought it was interesting to see. Let me get down here where I was at. Looking at my notes here. Is that it? No, that's not it. So, tell me what you think is a popular Christmas gift this year, either for children or women or men. What do you think are some of the top 3 Christmas gifts that people are wishing for or hoping that they get, or that's being purchased? Because I was surprised at what they said. I don't know, guys, because it's my age, but I do remember video games, but our video games were like pinball, and then I think Pac-Man was maybe when I was younger. But other than that, I don't really remember doing much video games. But do you know the number one gift that's popular, not for children, for men, are gaming consoles like, Nintendo and PlayStation? Can you believe that? I mean, that's just me. I'm not a gamer, but I know a lot of grown men are. But can you imagine that that's the number one popular gift this year for men is gaming consoles? It's crazy. And then, of course, the other thing that I was kind of surprised with that came in second for men were wireless earbuds. I mean, I have several pair, but I don't buy the expensive. I have one pair of Samsung wireless earbuds, but I've had them for probably 3 or 4 years. And then, I have cheap ones because they get misplaced. And I don't know. Do you think a lot of people use wireless earbuds a lot? Especially men. Do men use wireless earbuds a lot? How about you, Chris? Do you use wireless earbuds a lot? Ed, Wisconsin? Gift cards of all kinds. Yeah, I don't see gift cards on anybody's list. Franklin just joined. Hey, Franklin, how's it going? It's crazy though. I just wireless earbuds. And have you seen the new latest thing? They call it a smart ring, and it's actually a ring, and it's supposed to like it's really for fitness, but it's supposed to track your steps and how well you're sleeping and all of that. Out in the public, safety issues. I agree. Huh. Yeah. I haven't ever. I've never worn those glasses that are like that, or even put a pair on and see what they do. I've had a couple of people talk about the goggles that you put on, but again, this goes back to gaming. Um, the virtual goggles, and you put them on, and I guess you play a game like, and you have to do it kind of in stages. Okay. Well, I mean, for me, the wireless earbuds, that really didn't surprise me as much as, I mean, it surprised me the fact that it was, they ranked it number 2 in popular items for Christmas time. But I use them too, and I mean, but to me, they're that's an item that's real. They're very useful, and I can understand why people would, why they're popular. The gaming stations, not so much, but that's just me. Other people that are gamers, they may go, "Oh yeah, that's a big deal." The last thing too was that it said that came in number 3 were like massage guns, like for like muscle relief after workouts and stuff. And I was like, really? That one kind of surprised me. One of the things they say women really like for Christmas that's supposed to be popular this year are the candle warmer lights. That way you can have a candle and no open flame. They're much safer than open flame candles. I have a rule: if you got an open flame candle burning in my house, you better be standing next to it. Because not this house, but we had another house that nearly started a fire because somebody forgot to blow out a candle. So that's always one of my worst fears, is to go to sleep, the house catch on fire, and you be, of course, you'd probably die from smoke inhalation before you burn up, but that wouldn't be that would be a bad way to go. However, too, for little kids, and I thought this was pretty good, that Legos are still one of the top toys for little kids. Lego sets. How about that? In our day, it was Lincoln Logs. Does anybody remember those Lincoln Logs? The toys. You probably have to be the older generation to remember those, but yeah, Lincoln Logs. They were made. Yeah, I did too. So the big thing, for at least for boys, when I can remember, was Lincoln Logs and the little plastic army guys. You'd set up your army, and um, Battleship, maybe. That was a game when I was a kid too. Battleship. So the army guys and Battleship and Lincoln Logs, and now the popular one for kids is Legos. And I've seen some people do some really, really neat things with Legos. You had a bucket full of army men. Yeah, for sure. You could take them outside and dig a hole in the yard. And, yeah, it was fun. Until your dad said, "What are you doing?" So 10 days till Christmas. I don't have a calendar here in front of me. But Christmas is going to be here really quick. There was one other thing. I got to find that question. I was talking about the, where did I see that? So I do have another question. So for Christmas, do y'all have turkey again for Christmas, or do you have ham, or what's your choice for Christmas dinner? A lot of people, we used to have turkey, and now it's like prime rib. I'm not a big fan of prime rib, but I know a lot of people that really like it. I tell you what we're going to have, which is totally, we've never done it before. Let me move this over here. We've never done it before, but I think our family's talking about doing barbecue, like brisket, for Christmas Day. And I love brisket. So, yep. Roast was kind of the go-to Sunday after church lunch. A lot of times when I was a kid, we'd have my mother would make a big roast, or my grandmother. And I'm still, to this day, I like a good roast. Pulled pork, okay, yeah. Yeah, pulled pork's really good too. I like that too. Pulled pork's really gotten a lot more popular in Texas with the beef prices that have just shot through the roof. It's crazy. What was it? I bought a little less than 3 pounds of sirloin steak this weekend, and it was like $31. Yeah, so that's beef has definitely gone up. I'm gonna have to find that question again. It was talking. Oh, was it over here? I've got so many different. Maybe not. Well, I'll find it and I'll ask the question tomorrow on that. But yeah, so Christmas is around the corner. I think we're going to have brisket this year, but I like turkey. I don't know if other people like turkey, but I like a fried turkey sometimes. Like maybe we'll roast a turkey for Thanksgiving, but then do fried turkey for Christmas. There's a little more effort into when you have to fry a turkey, because you gotta, the grease, and got to do it outside. Yeah. I just think in general, food prices are up. At least here in Texas, they are. I've been in Washington State a few years back when we visited, and we stayed a week or so. We'd go into the grocery store, and their prices were much higher there than they were in Texas. So, I don't know, but when prices have gone up when your weekly grocery bill goes from 150 a week to 300 a week. And so, yeah, prices have definitely increased here dramatically over the last probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. 4 years, maybe. It just seems like everything's been on a price increase. And then, of course, when you start to see inflation, everybody's, what I call Me Too, whether they really need to or not. You develop that Me Too world. So it's like all my neighbors went up on their prices, so I'm going up on my prices too. Whether you really needed to or not, you just do. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, there you go, $100. And yeah, so it's yeah, groceries are up. Everything's up though. Water's up. I don't know. So let me ask y'all this question: what your water bill? Do Are water prices up drastically in your part of the country if you live in Illinois or up on the East Coast? I mean, what's your average water bill for a family of 4 or 5 people, and you're not doing any outside water? Jamie, thank you so much. I enjoyed you. Come back to see us. We're here Monday through Friday, 5:45. Come join us again. Bring your coffee. Thank you for your conversation. I appreciate you. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago. So Pflugerville here has the highest water rates in Texas. For a family of there's 5 of us, if we don't do any outside watering, our water bill is $400 a month. See if anybody can top that. Yeah, 400 a month. And in the summertime, if you have to water some, otherwise we'd have a dirt yard, and you can't have that because the homeowners association doesn't allow it. Then your water bill gets into the $500 range. And of course, electric rates here have gone up too. Well, electric, gas, and water rates, at least over the last probably 3 years, have doubled in cost. Natural gas, we probably paid, I don't know, $25 a month for natural gas, $30. And now it's $80, $90, $100 a month. Then electricity bills running, used to electricity here, if you shopped around, on the high end would be like 14 cents a kilowatt hour, and on the low end 6-7 cents a kilowatt hour. Some parts of Texas were deregulated, where you actually had other providers and you could shop for the lowest rate. And now it's up to 21, 22 cents a kilowatt hour, pretty much across all carriers. You might be able to get a deal where you're at 16 or 17 cents a kilowatt hour. So that's jacked, between your gas, your water, and electricity. You could easily spend $1,000 to $1,100 a month just in utilities, and another $1,000 to $1,200 a month for taxes. And and that's if you own your property. Can you imagine all of that, and then a $2,000 or $3,000 mortgage on top of that? That's why people can't afford to buy a house right now. Turn horses in on it. Yeah, there's times there's everybody likes to have a nice green lawn. Hey, join. I think, but it's as the population grows here, the water doesn't grow. That's the whole thing. In Texas, in this part of the country anyway, we either have an abundance of water because it's flooding, and the lakes fill up, but then we may go 6 months with no rain, dry weather, and they're pumping water out of those lakes as fast as they can pump it. And I know the ocean has plenty of water. I never have understood why we haven't done a better job developing plants that can remove the salt from the water out of the ocean and pipeline it where it needs to go. Just a thought. I mean, I've heard them talk about it. Maybe they do have plants that do that, but obviously not enough, at least not for Texas. And I even know somebody that lives in Utah, and they have a lot of the same type of issues. They either have an abundance of water or a drought. It's all about taxes, government. Yeah, you're right. For sure. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I mean, just here locally, we just had a mayoral runoff, and of course, the guy I was voting for is conservative Christian, and he used to be the mayor here probably, I don't know, when he was a much younger man, and did a really good job. Of course, the city's grown some, but no, they elected a younger guy that just a year ago voted to raise city taxes above and beyond what the state supposedly allows without a public vote. But there was some loophole that they used, some legal loophole, to raise our taxes 8% from one year to the next without it going in front of the voters. So I don't really trust the guy. I think he's in it for himself. He was on the city council he's been on the city council, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years maybe. I keep telling my wife that I've considered, being retired, that I've considered running for local public office and at least getting on the city council, but I'm not sure that I would do well, because when when they tried to do something that didn't make a lot of common sense, knowing me and my personality, I'd probably have to let them know what I thought. And then if they still continued to do stuff that was, waste of taxpayers' money or illegal, I'd have to get in front of the media or social media and let everybody know what was going on. So I don't think I would be a good person for that. I might be a thorn in their side, but I don't know what would get you elected to local city government, and or if I'd even want to do that. I mean, if I couldn't do any good and really make it better for everybody in the area, I mean, to me, that's what politics should be about. Should be about being conservative, being a good manager of other people's money. And you just don't see that. And I mean, it's at every level of government, schools, counties, cities, all the way up to the federal government. I mean, they waste our money. And it's all about somebody having an inside track or their own personal gain, and not about what's good for the people who fund them and pay their salaries. My opinion. And I wish we'd get back to the other side of that, but maybe it's gone too far. I don't know. What do y'all think? Richard T just joined. Good morning. Sorry, I kind of been on. I think I've done most of the talking this morning. It's 7:02. It's Monday, and that's the one thing here too. Actually, we have a company event today that we're having a lunch, and I think it's geared towards the fact that there's a lot of us that worked together a long time, and we've all been laid off. And so I think that's what this lunch is about, but not what they said it was about. But we'll see. because it's being held at a location which is, what I would consider a little more expensive than the company normally does. But anyway, so we're going to have a lunch and people were invited. So we'll see how that turns out today. I'll let you know in the morning if it was just about having a gathering because of the Christmas season, or if it was really more about getting everybody together one last time before our time with the company ends. So I'm not sure. Orange man, political discussion out over the last year devolves into orange man bad. Yeah. Again, I voted for Trump both times. Maybe it was the lesser of two evils. I'm not sure. I don't always agree with how he does stuff or how he comes across. Even if he's trying to do something that's good for everybody and maybe we don't understand or we're not privy to all the inside tracks, sometimes how he delivers the message is just terrible. And so, yeah, but I don't know. I get really frustrated when we start talking about, the government and the people that run for president, and are they good? Are they not good? Everybody's got their hand in it. It's like, let's do it this way. No, let's do it that way. And so one of the things I think that's really missing from government at all levels is common sense. And everybody needs to be reminded that it's not their money. The government has no money. They don't run a business. They don't make profit. They just take money out of your pocket and spend it, period. And if people would wake up and have to sit down every 3 months and write the U.S. government a check, I promise you, we would have an uprising that you wouldn't believe. No. Yeah, exactly. You're right, my God. I agree. Well, it's 7:05, guys. I got to get off to work. Thank you for joining me on Monday. I hope your holiday season is going well and that you're getting all your Christmas shopping done. Like I said, Christmas Eve will be here. Christmas Day is 10 days out. Can you believe it? When we got to day 12 days out, the 12 days of Christmas, and I was like, did anybody watch that video? I posted that question. Did anybody get that answer? Like how many gifts were given by the end of that song, the 12 days of Christmas? Does anybody know that answer? And I haven't told anybody what that answer is yet, but I always like to share it with my live audience. If you haven't seen that, well, I'll probably ruin it for you. If you have seen that question and video, then thank you. It's 364. How about that? A lot of people guess 12, 78, 84. 364 is the answer to that question. So if you watch it, you'll know the answer now. And then what question did I ask yesterday? I forgot. The question about Rudolph and what was the American store that the gimmick was developed for, Montgomery Ward's. And I had a lot of people say Woolco. I remember Woolco. My wife actually worked there for a while. So anyway, everybody have a great Monday. Stay warm if you're in snow weather. And I'll see you back here in the morning at 5:45. Have a great day. Go do something good and kind today. You never know what your actions, what kind of effect it'll have on someone. All righty. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see you back here in the morning. Thanks for joining and all the support. Appreciate you.